Acting Director of the ATF, Marvin Richardson, an African-American gentleman seen here, just got demoted. He's no longer the acting director, not even the director. He's going down a peg or two, and this is not the fault of Donald Trump. I know, shocking. Joe Biden did this, that racist white guy. He just promoted another white guy. We're going to take a look at what's happening here, but the spiciest headline on this story comes over from the Washington Examiner. They say the ATF is in turmoil as the top black director demoted, and Biden pushes a second white man for the job. Written by Paul Bedard over at the Washington Examiner. Just outstanding. And look at this white guy just chuckling away, just yucking it up out there with Joe Biden with his sunglasses on, so you can't see that he doesn't know where he is. President Joe Biden's nominee to lead ATF is named Steve Dettelbach. Typical white guy named Steve. Speaks during an event in the Rose Garden of the White House. The embattled ATF was rocked again this week when an insider favored for the Bureau's top job was abruptly demoted after being passed over a second time by President Joe Biden. Now, this story originally came over from The Reload, and so please go follow them. They do great reporting. They were reporting on this before everybody else was, and then everybody else took the spicier headlines, and the stories are going hog wild from there. But they had this back on April 20th, and so we'll check back in with that story. But let's read the spice over here. Reports said that Acting Director Marvin Richardson, the highest ranking black man at the agency who had 30 years of experience with the ATF, announced on Monday that he was being shoved aside by the White House. Typical. Biden last week chose a white lawyer, oh my gosh, to head the sprawling law enforcement agency after his first pick, another white male, bowed out under pressure. So he's just going down a list of white guys. You've got a perfectly qualified black man there. He's 30 years experience. He's been with the ATF forever. He's perfectly qualified for the job. Joe Biden didn't want to bring him on. The news that he was being replaced came as a shock to most of us, the agency reports. And they tell us here, one ATF official wasn't even authorized to speak publicly, but he was communicating with The Reload. They had the story back some time ago. We know that Richardson, African-American, 30 years with the agency, passed over twice, being shuffled out of the acting director position mere months before a permanent director may be confirmed. Move follows a recent New York Times article saying that many people were complaining about Richardson. He was saying that he was an industry-friendly subordinate pumping the brakes on Biden's aggressive gun control initiatives. The move follows a recent New York Times article featuring complaints from gun control activists, which labeled Richardson an industry-friendly subordinate pumping the brakes on Biden's gun control initiatives. And Biden was out there. He was doing a little demo for the media, talking about ghost guns and trying to mash things together, and he had no idea what he was doing. People were gasping. What is duck? But here you can see one of the people who is upset or happy about this change because he was upset with Marvin Richardson. Fred Guttenberg says, "Thank you, POTUS, for this decision. Finally, you got rid of him." Fred Guttenberg, we heard about previously. He is somebody who lost his child, Jamie, murdered in the Parkland school shootings. And so now he's dedicated to being an anti-gun person. And we saw he was in the White House meeting with Biden. Biden was having a conversation with him when he was faking that he was at the White House. Literally, he was at Camp David, but the White House was saying, "Hey, thanks for stopping by, Fred," on, I think it was April 16th when he was storing away at Camp David. But that's a tangent. Here you can see he's saying, "Thank you, President. This is truly important. For a victim of gun violence like my family, this is a very big deal. The current acting director was far too close to industry and did nothing to focus on the lives of gun violence," saying, "This is a truly important step to take while your administration works with the DOJ and the Senate to get Steve Dettelbach confirmed as our new permanent director of the ATF." And you see him there, dad, husband, avid Cleveland sports fan, and a former U.S. attorney. Oh no, for the Northern District of Ohio. A prosecutor? Here's his profile over on Twitter. Let's see what we've got here. He's got Stanley Miller was a great leader, great person. I'll miss him. We all will. He spoke out about a shooting. So typical government U.S. attorney stuff. Wikipedia gives us a little bit more background on the gentleman. Stephen Michael Dettelbach, American lawyer from Cleveland. He was the United States attorney for the Northern District of Ohio for 6 years. Resigned in 2016. Been a partner, co-leader. He does some white-collar defense and corporate investigations. Okay, so that's interesting. So this is often something that happens. People will be prosecutors, then they go and they join the defense We see here April 2022 announced that Joe Biden was the nominee to serve as the director of the ATF. He went to Dartmouth and then he went to Harvard Law School. You're kidding me. More Harvard grads in this administration. They're everywhere. He then began his legal career, law clerk, went over to the district court out of DC, also at the Justice Department's division, trial lawyer. Says here, involuntary servitude cases. He worked on something involving 70 Thai garment workers in California. And there's some good stuff here. It says he represented indigent people in the Boston area for Harvard Defenders. On civil liberties, law review, volunteered representing different indigent people. He became assistant U.S. attorney out of Maryland, was named chief, then detailed his counsel to Chairman Patrick Leahy, Democrat. Also worked on oversight, enforcement provisions, Sarbanes-Oxley, U.S. attorney. In his position, he prosecuted corruption cases, including United States versus Nate Gray, a series of cases involving pay-to-play, municipal corruption. Partner then at Black Hostler, 2006 to 2009, and again since 2016, where he worked on litigation. Let's see if we know anything about his political activities. Volunteered for Obama, providing legal assistance and advice. Was also on the transition team. Volunteer for Ted Strickland. Ted Strickland, member of the Democratic Party, somebody over out of Ohio. And we know that he was also a candidate. He actually run for office before in 2018. Doesn't look like he got elected, but he was a U.S. attorney. Obama appointed him to Ohio. And here it is. Dettelbach was a classmate of Obama's at Harvard and worked with him as a summer associate at a Chicago law firm. So it's the Obama administration. They're back in charge. Dettelbach was unanimously confirmed by the Senate, recommended by U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown. Attorney General Eric Holder appointed him to the advisory committee where he chairs the groups. They're just shuffling all the old guys right back in. Back then, U.S. attorney. Now he just needed to bide his time for a little bit until that Trumper was out of there. And then they're going to shove him back up to the top of the ATF. We see made civil rights enforcement, both criminal and civil, a priority as a U.S. attorney. Number of times he was making prosecution under the Hate Crimes Preventions Act. He prosecuted the largest case in terms of number of defendants in a hate crimes prevention case. In that case, person was sentenced to more than 12 years in prison, 15 others sentenced to prison for religiously motivated attacks. He also secured a guilty plea to hate crimes charge from an Indiana man. The plea agreement included a binding recommendation, 20-year prison sentence. So yeah, he's a prosecutor. The office also pursued civil remedies to civil rights issues, voting rights. Perfect. Oversight, civilian input. These reforms call for more training, want to work with police departments. On April 10th, 2022, Dettelbach was announced as President Joe Biden's second nominee in an attempt to fill the role after David Chipman withdrawn from consideration. ATF, so he's not even the first pick, he's number 2. Biden got together with his team and they're just mashing their heads together. They're saying, we've got to do something here. We do not want Marvin on the ATF director position. 30 years, all these. So we got to go out. Are there any more white people out there? Yeah, this guy will do it. Dettelbach will do it. Perfect. So slot him in here. And that's the new director of the ATF. So we'll see what sort of policy changes come out of this. They've already been adjusting things, making this sort of the new centerpiece of their campaign. Joe Biden, of course, has wrecked the criminal justice system many times over the last 30 years, in my humble opinion. And he's probably going to do it again by creating new stupid rules and regulations that only apply to the law-abiding people in America. Aren't you excited about it? I know I am. We're going to continue to cover it, and I hope you join us on that journey. I would love it if you subscribe before you got out of here, and if you like this content, I'd love a like as well. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.